I think that I'll be the most optimistic of the bunch, ultimately. My name is Lilach. I was an officer, and I am now a member of the Forum of Dvorah Forum, and I'm a friend of Sarit. I was born in a kibbutz on the north to parents who founded Kiryat Shmona and then moved to a kibbutz in the Upper Galilee. I went to the central Israel, and then I came back and I founded, together with my friend, a small moshav by the Hermon mountain. And it's called Nimrod. You see this very northern point up there on the map? That's where we live. It's a community that hasn't been evacuated. I'm happy we haven't been evacuated. We don't have safe rooms either. We don't have school. Our school has been evacuated. Our kids go elsewhere. And I think that our strength is the most important thing. And Trumpeldor's line is the line that I am behind. Trumpeldor's plow had a line. But I want to talk about this. It's 4 comedic points. The first thing I want to talk about is that the Upper Galilee was in a bad state, but it's still not back on track because the improvement is just quantitative and it doesn't touch upon the core of the problems. And we're going to have to speak very quickly, but let me talk about 4 points because they're important. The first is the matter of periphery and border. In the past, the border had some depth. Now, the fence is the only border. That's what we feel. We see this and we talk about lines. The events of October 7th have proven to us that the road between the outpost of the soldiers and the community is just as vulnerable. We have many solutions to offer. Of course, if we talk about the military, we have to expand the line between the communities. We have to make the rapid response units bigger, increase them substantially. But how do we do that? Well, 50% of the communities are comprised of women. Why? They're not part of the rapid response unit. And I'm telling you because I'm the only female coordinator, civil security coordinator, for the last 25 years. A woman sometimes comes and does something a little and then leaves again because we only, in the IDF, female soldiers, even if they have the capabilities, will only have a certain level of weapon experience. And if we give more weapon experience to women in the army, we'll have more security officials in these communities. So many things, so all these things have many solutions. So home front and front. The home front has a commander, right? A major general. And what do the area defense have? A brigadier general. And why? They have so many units under them, and I feel the same way. We belong to the same corps. And what does it mean? That the weight between home front and fighting front has become reversed for us. And I don't want to blame anyone. I'm part of the system. But it's been reversed. And why? Why does it have such implications? Because there is no fighting front or home front in Metula, Dovev, in Idmit. They're all fighting front. Everyone can tell you the story. Tali also didn't believe that the home front command will come and give her care packages and food. And that's what I'm saying. We have to stop talking about home front. A home front is in Bat Yam and in Gedera. Whoever lives on the border is a fighting front. And that's what we have to talk about. And I can give you operative ideas, but we need to control what's happening. We can't wait for anyone to come and save us. And the second thing is relying on intelligence. Here again, there's no change. Again, we see the plans. The whole area will be full of units. People will come in. People will intervene, but forget it. They're not going to come. You have to give out weapons to the communities. Why not? Give the communities weapons. They'll be the first responders and they'll fight because it's their homes they're fighting for. And we all know that. And the last thing I want to talk about is the matter that we, whether civilians or soldiers, were not part of the army, but we feel like we're their clients, the army's clients. They're like a defense, a security company. It's made us feel distrust. It's made us become ineffective. And the most important thing is that the army is losing. And what's the idea of losing? Not a single farmer up north doesn't come to the fence every day and an intelligence officer can compete with. Changes on the ground is in our hands. Understanding what's happening on the ground is in our hands. It's just one mechanism out of countless mechanisms. And I don't want to say that as part of being an area defense officer, I had to wait for a tractor to move. Well, we have a farmer. The farmer can help, can move all the rocks, can move everything that's in my way and solve it. And by the way, I did that, but don't tell anyone because it goes against orders. And the last thing is, so that we really will have a last point to talk about, after we really relied on the government and the IDF, I want to tell you something. At the end of the day, it is our country. It is us. And whenever we say the Israel or the IDF or the government, we'll have a problem. And I don't want to reprimand anyone. I'm saying this to myself first and foremost. This is how I live my life. And I want to say that it is our initiative. It is in our hands. We mustn't always be dependent upon what someone is saying and what someone will do. And therefore, I'm giving you a quote in June 1967, before the Golan Heights were occupied, were taken over. If you remember, if you're my age, Levi Eshkol, the Prime Minister, Dayan, the Minister of Defense, did not want to invade the Golan Heights, but Eshkol wanted to. Why? Because we had a water problem. I don't want to go into that. But he kind of ambushed Dayan, and in a defense minister meeting, he brought 3 residents of the Galilee to talk to Dayan and tell him to take over the Golan Heights. And this was on June 8th, 1967. We had already taken over many areas, and what was left is the Golan Heights. And I will quote Shalom Chavlin from Kibbutz HaGoshrim. "Forgive me for my appearance," he said to the ministers and Prime Minister and Minister of Defense. "Excuse me for my appearance. I just came out of my point. I have been living in the Galilee for 34 years. My fate is the Galilee's fate. My sons were born there, my grandchildren were born there. And we want to live just like everyone else in Israel. We want to live and to thrive. We don't always want to bow our heads. We live and experience the ongoing threat of the enemy that is constantly on the mountains threatening us. And we know that if we, with our own hands, do not remove this threat, at this opportunity, we will not have another opportunity to do so. My son has been fighting in Sinai. My other son has been injured by a mortar shell. I'm always in my position, and my kids are in the shelter. Please help us. Take us out of this nightmare. We residents of the Galilee can no longer bear it. We are willing to fight together with the IDF on the front lines if there's if need be. And I served for 7 years on the Palmach. I am experienced in combat. I'm willing to help wherever needed. But it is your call. You are our elected officials. Please think of us. Please allow us to live. So if you think this is now more relevant than ever, then it is. And finally, to wrap up, yes, Avram, to wrap up, I just want to tell you, there's not going to be a magic solution. No genius is going to stand up and suddenly say what we can do. We have been in a war of attrition since 1948, and we are living in border communities. And this is just like a big brawl, and the last one standing, there's the last one standing, and despite all the bad things that are happening, we have to be the ones to live, and we have to be the ones to win. But we're here, and we're here to stay. Thank you very much.